Welcome to TreehouseTravels, where the road ends and our story begins. I'm Austin, and this is Dustin.
And we're into overlanding. What is overlanding, you might ask? Overlanding is basically self-sufficient camping in a vehicle. So what we've done is taken this 2004 Toyota Sequoia and modified it to where we can pretty much go camping anywhere. And from the minute we leave the house till the minute we get back, it's fully self-sufficient. We've got a whole bunch of different options on it that we're going to go over later. But we want to tell you a little bit about the channel first. So me and Austin talked about making this channel, TreehouseTravels, initially just to share with families and friends, but it's also going to be like to provide some tips for other overlanders that might want to get into the hobby, or if anybody's got an interest in seeing the kind of travels that we go on, we're hoping to document them and also have something to look back on for us, basically. Overlanding is a lot of fun. It can be a lot of work up front. It depends on how far you want to go with it, but hopefully we can have a couple episodes where we can kind of unlock the details about that. We use a 2004 Toyota Sequoia. Love this truck. They call these million-mile trucks. It's using the 2UZ FE engine, which is really over-designed for its purpose. Used to have another model, a 2002 before this. It was not a four-wheel drive, and that's why we transitioned into this. We've made some modifications and additions over the last year. Most of them, everything has to do with the overlanding hobby and just making it more convenient and more user-friendly for us on the road. What's your favorite part about taking a trip?
Seeing not seeing, but really just like overlaying, because we set out our stuff, and then we have the manual stove, that stove,
Yeah.
And then sometimes if we're having family over that bring a tent, we have to find sticks, or if they bring a fire starter.
Yeah. So a lot of it's just like, there's a ton of options. You can do an open fire whenever you go. We actually have a unit in here where we can have a flame out of a, not kerosene tank, but a propane tank basically, right? So we can throw it together real quick, either get warmth or get cooking going. We've got a camp stove, we've got a refrigerator on the inside, but let me show you a little bit of the outside. We're gonna start there. So upgraded the headlights. These are actually clear headlights from a 2005, so those required a little bit of modification. I'm hoping at some point to replace the front bumper and be able to put a winch on it, so if we get stuck, we can pull ourselves out, hopefully. This truck is lifted. It's about a 2.5 to 3 inch lift. It's a little bit higher in the front than it is in the back. They call that squat. It's just because the springs haven't been upgraded yet, and we have a lot of equipment in the back. Added these ditch lights. One of the things I'll talk about a little bit as different videos go on is I try to do everything in a cost-efficient manner, because the truck itself is not a high dollar vehicle. This is not a $70,000, $80,000 vehicle. It probably was whenever it was originally built, like the Sequoias now that are also 4x4. They're in the 80s and 90s. So these first gen trucks are so capable. I think they're just as capable as the new stuff, and they're just as dependable, if not more. You just have to do the regular maintenance on them. Favorite addition to the truck for me, roof rack. This thing is solid. We can actually pull up on it. It's got handles on the side. I put an extreme LED light bar on the front. This is a stealth version, so it's real low profile. You really have to be looking for it to see it. Now at night it's super bright, so there's no problem there. This is our shower. So whenever we're camping in what they call dispersed camping, which is basically just camping off-site, right? It's like not a dedicated campground where you're gonna have to pay. This may be down a dirt road where somebody's camped before. You may be pulling off-road completely. A lot of times in Colorado, these sites, you can only get to them with a 4x4 because you have to have the clearance to be able to get out, etc. Well, whenever you're out there, obviously there's no facilities, so you don't have any way to clean off at night before you get in the truck. So what this does is it'll hold 8 gallons and it'll heat up during the day as we drive around. So that evening you really have a warm shower. But what's really cool is you can actually pressurize it here if you pump this long enough, or I can hook up my bike compressor, which is basically just like a spare tire compressor, or your air tire compressor here, and pressurize the water. And I probably have a little pressure on it. You can stand right there. But I've
Yes.
got a
So
actual
you're getting
hose
wet.
that attaches right there so we can shower. We have like a pop out shower that we stand in, zips up. Also use that as to hold the toilet. You've got to be really prepared whenever you get off site, right? Roam container, 128 liter. Keep a lot of the stuff that I don't want in the truck, like propane tanks and stuff in there, so you don't want them to leak. Really,
We about lost it too.
we did. So there's a cool story behind that. Whenever we were going to Disney World just a couple months ago, we didn't realize, but the bolts on the front backed themselves out. And this is in the middle of a storm, but I just happened to catch it in the rearview mirror and I saw the entire unit hanging off the side. So it was like, out here, because it was completely, the only thing holding it was the rear bolts. So we had to pull over at a Home Depot, track down some replacements, and throw them on there while it was just, I was drenched when it was done. There was so much going on. Anyways, we've got lots of stories to tell. Glad to have you guys along. Hopefully the channel will grow over time and we'll get better at doing this kind of thing. We're, like I said, trying to do it cheap on budget, so there's no script. We're just real friendly. If you have any questions, feel free to post. Can't wait to show you our trip coming up and maybe share some of the pictures from the trips in the past. But this will be something new for us and glad to have you along.
This is TreehouseTravels, where the road ends and our story begins.